welcome back to day 10 of Advent of Code. This is the second video I've been doing for Advent of Code, so check out the first for a bit more prep work. The gist is that we are implementing a CPU and then working out a certain magic value when we do it. This still has like all the debugging that I had last time. Might have added a bit more maybe. We can check here. Right, I've added in a typo and I tried doing a thing, but that's all good. Cool. So the gist is that when I was passing the I had it like that, and I was parsing this instruction as a mutable thing, but apparently structures get copied by values, so they'll copy the actual value of the structure rather than like a reference. So when we do this i.cycles, it doesn't actually reduce the cycles of the other instruction, the actual instruction. So what we could do here is we can either do this i.cycles manually ourselves before we do the tick, like that's one way to do it. Potentially it's a good way to do it. So I'll get rid of this stuff, and I'll also do the tick before doing this part 1 check, so it's clear kind of what's happening. So everything we reduce the cycles of the instructions, then we do a tick of the CPU. And so if we run our tests on that, it might just actually change it, except I had a typo in that struct, and yeah, that's telling us typo. So that actually looks like a potentially easier option, and so if we do our less one, we can see that so we start on 0 for some reason, and then we have an underflow really, and it didn't complain, which I find kind of interesting. So if we did that, so we kind of like don't want to do this check here. So what I'm thinking is, if we do that less again, so we go 1 to 0, yeah, that is looking good. So we actually don't want that debugging statement, I don't think. So we would have 2, then we would have 1 left, then 0. So this looks like, well, maybe I do want that, but I don't want it there. I actually want it here, and do the CPU and CPU, because I kind of want to see what happens after each tick. And what I'm thinking, it would actually be kind of cool to have just a smaller kind of program to see it kind of initially going, but this kind of works. Right, so on the first clock cycle, X is 1, and then on the second, it goes to 16. Does that seem reasonable? Yeah, so during the 20th, so if we go to clock 20, our X is 21. That seems legit. So what I might do is, well, we can kind of do that. Oh, that's right, we're going to do, yeah. Right, so we also want clock 60. And at clock 60, X is 19. That looks good. Clock 100. Clock 100 has 18, which looks good. 140, we want 21. 140, we've got 21. And 180, we want 16. 180, and we want 16. And 220, we want 18. 220, we want 18, but we got 19. Right, so that's kind of annoying right at the end. Yeah, I think I want to change this and do this very simple one to start with, and it'll just kind of finish running, but we can see what it does. So at the start of the first cycle, so after the first cycle, it should be 1. That sounds good. And then the second, right, so we will do this and X will still be 1. And then the third, X is still 1, but after the third, so this is kind of printing the end, it should set it to 4. That looks good, to be honest. And then at the start of the fourth, it's still 4, and it should be at the end. And during the fifth, it will start off being 4, but then it should set it to -1. That looks fine. Inputs day 10.example, and we'll shove that in input again. So maybe I will also only print that out when I am doing the part that I want. And maybe get some line embedded, and then we can just use that test harness again, because I kind of like the rebuild if need, and then run, and then we will get a diff just to kind of see what's happening, but we also won't get too many instructions here. So 20th cycle, it should be 21, which is right, and that's like the one where it thinks it should be kind of midway through. So this addX instruction has cycles being 1, so I think we are off by 1 at some point. because this suggests that this is, and we're one extra at the end. Yeah, this kind of suggests, I would expect that to be, because it starts off 2, it'll go to 1. I would kind of expect that to be, no, I think 1 is right, because when it is, yeah, so this one means it has just applied that. So the first tick through, right, so the first tick through, it should be 2. So, yeah, 2U64, yeah. Potentially that would look nicer, I don't know. Easier to see the number for what it is. So it should add 2 to cycles, which sounds good, and then we're just not doing anything there that is legit, and only if we reach 0 on the cycles will we actually do a thing. And cycles was a U64, so yeah, I'm there. I do not know, and we're just like off by 1, just by 1, and like I could potentially just rearrange some stuff and it might just make it work, but I want to make sure that it is correct. Does the CPU, the clock, is that meant to start at 1? I wonder. Yeah, I think it was just meant to start at 1. But then, like, this doesn't quite make sense. Oh, we want like during the cycle, so like before the tick happens. Yeah, during the cycle. Right, yeah. So because it's during the cycle, we kind of want everything to be off by 1. And so because of that, I think just adding 1 is legitimate. Like having it start from 1. Right, so I think this looks good. And the thing I was going to say before about this instruction not being mutable, which it doesn't need to be mutable now, is we could have also changed the instruction to be a class and then set all the things to be public, and then we can pass it as a reference, a mutable reference as well, because a normal reference to a struct we can't have mutable for whatever reason, I'm not too sure. But yeah, now I think it should work. So this is good news, and we should hopefully be able to, I can run it again reasonably quick. Yeah, run it with that, and we should get an answer that might be right. 10760. We got it. We got it. Right, so copy that and outputs day 10 dot output and go back to there and get rid of that. That was just a finger bump when it shouldn't have been. And now I could probably check what I have here, and I'll remove this test.jakt. That was me just, in fact, before removing I probably could have, I wonder if this, right, so that will like open some help for that command. Yeah, so if I didn't delete it, I could have shown what it had in it, which was how to use the class, but too late. It happens. Right, so now we can go to that window and day 10 part 1 and go back to that window. I've noticed I don't know how it got triggered, but yeah, when I like have a window that pops up, like if I don't know, go amend, it will open up this, but it will default to this first window, which is behind this. There's a little terminal, just to show me where the camera is. But it doesn't always do that, and like when I close that, it has gone back to that terminal. And if I like just hide something, it will always go back to that. And I wonder if that was always the case or not, because I kind of want it to go back to the last used window. So if I accidentally minimize that, this one was the last, but it wasn't the last selected, I guess. Anyway, what I should do is stop rambling and go look at part 2, and hopefully all my prep work paid off and it will be good. Right, so the X does some sprites. Yeah, we're drawing to a monitor, so we can draw a sprite with that X, and that X is the middle of a 3-character sprite. No verticals, and we have, we know how like wide and high the CRT is, and when it gets to the end, I guess it just either starts from the start or not. Oh, right. Right, so the CRT can only draw a single pixel each cycle. So it takes like 240 to do the whole lot. Right. Right. I might open that in a new tab and hope it doesn't crash. It's a YouTube link from one of the things. I just want to see what it is. Racing the Beam explained. Yeah, so that probably just gives you some background onto how you can do this sort of thing that we're doing, and that is just a wiki for Racing the Beam. That kind of makes sense. Right, so we need to work out whether things are visible at the same time. The sprite is positioned such that one of the 3 pixels is the pixel currently being drawn. Right, So if there is a sprite at the point where it's trying to draw, then it will draw a hash, otherwise it'll be a dot. And it depends if this add X. Cool, this is like kind of cool, but it might be a bit longer of a part 2 than I was thinking. Yeah, so at the start, X will be, yeah, so that's just incrementing up the pixel location, but the X is like showing where the sprite is, and there's just one sprite. Right, I got you. So there's one sprite in this entire system because one register, and that register value is basically the middle of where it is. And as we go through the cycles, the CRT does some stuff, and that, that will work out where it is. So I assume at some point we can like kind of draw some things. So hash is, it exists there. And because it was, right, so during the cycle it will do it. If X is at where the CRT column is at, then it will draw it, otherwise it won't. So now, because it's moved at this one, we'll just get a dot and a couple more dots. And then we get more, and like this kind of jumps around, and we should get a picture. We get a picture, and then right, so this kind of will hopefully spell out a thing. So we do need to kind of draw this. It's kind of cool. So yeah, I guess our part 2 will just like kind of have it print out. And I guess I will maybe go outputs in day10.example. We'll just have parts 2 and like a new line. Part 2, yeah, new line, and then hash dot dot hash dot dot hash dot dot hash dot dot. Nah, that's like going to take too long. I will do that trick, which I think I can do. No, I'll have to do it here, I guess. Boom, boom, and I'll do some secret gathering. What is this place called? Advent code. And no, I don't want that one. I want this one. And scroll to the bottom and find this. And then this file, and delete all that and paste in. Paste in that and close that, and come back here. And what we can do is SSH, do this thing. Now this was like kind of a thing. I want to, instead of running this command, which will overwrite that day10.example file, I want to like edit it, but if I do that kind of edit command, it'll be like, nah, shell crashed. So you have to kind of do that. So what I need to actually do is just kind of do this manually and cat add red.txt, and I want to like add that to outputs.day10.example and put in that, and part 2 can be like that. So that means that at the end of right, so I think we need to reopen some things here. At the end of this, we need to like do that happened last time as well, I think. So there is some bug with changing a file's contents outside of Hack Studio while it's open, and then you want to like reopen it. So I closed all the files that were open because it kind of looked a bit not what I expected, and then I tried to open a file that I had potentially changed outside of Hack Studio. So if I open up Hack Studio again and go through this and not quite to the edge, and then boom, and I don't really care too much about that. Maybe I do. Right, so now the tests should kind of print out the part 2 that we are failing at, and we need to kind of print line part 2 and then like just do the VGA. I wonder if we can do something like this, and we have the VGA being mute VGA, and this is some sort of VGA thing. So, and I think I will by the start do it a class, even though it looks weird because I've got structs for everything, but I want that kind of pass by reference functionality. Now this VGA is going to have its kind of buffer, and I also kind of want it to be able to print stuff. So I guess yeah, maybe it can just be something like that. And if I run this, right, so we need a type to that. We can call it that. It's interesting if you just have it within a function. I've gone somewhere. Yeah, so say if I just had a function like this, and I would go let I equal 5, it knows that I is an I64, and it will like complain about that if you try and do it somewhere else. But inside a class or a structure, you kind of have to be explicit with it. Right, so that's compiling. That sounds good. So what I want to do is kind of change how we print a thing, like how we format it. Source jakt and like samples get grep. I think it might be called format, so I'll kind of do that. So yeah, this toString, that is what I want. That's samples functions overloading. Then samples functions overloading, and this overloads a string, I guess. maybe just heard a weird beep, I think. To string, and what does this kind of take? It kind of takes this, I guess, and it throws and it does a thing, and I guess it takes a string, returns a string. That kind of makes sense. String, and for now it can just return foo. I guess foo can be a good thing. So now I hope it kind of says foo, but we will see. We will see. No, it still says VGA, so I want it to not do that. But it might not actually be possible. But we could do something like that, and that would do the same thing, and we probably need to make it public because this is a class. So I wonder if after we do this, we could potentially take away the toString again. So now it says foo, that is cool, and I wonder if we can get rid of that, and hopefully it does that. Nah, so it doesn't. So what we can do is do that, and what I think I might actually do is actually just go vga.print like that, and this is just going to do the printing, print, and it probably doesn't need a throw just yet, but it might end up throwing, who knows. And then we can print line maybe bar, just so we know it has changed, and then see how that goes. And from here we can kind of start thinking what this class is going to have. It's going to have a bunch of pixels, and we know the heights and stuff, right? So that's a bar. So I think we want pixels to be like a double array of like U8, just the characters. Yeah, and it can just equal an empty array, and we probably want a public function in it, and it can take immutable this. I wonder if we can also like just have this in the constructor somehow. Maybe if we look at vim samples class constructor constructor get the sample set constructor. I'm not sure if that is the case, but how I do it is fine, and we can just do cpu.init, and in this init we will probably want to set the right. So we have, how many did we have? We had 40 wide and 6 high. So for y in 0, 6, and for x in 0, 40, which we could probably have is like width 40, and I wonder if we can like mark this as like constant. Yeah, I wonder if it will let me do that. It did not, and it did different from usual crash. I will get rid of that because it just doesn't like it. It's also like incomplete, but yeah, because I kind of want a constant of width, and it'll be a U size, and it can be 6Z, I guess, and height U size, and this can be 6Z, and this can be 40, and then here we go width and height, yeah, and see how that goes. It'll probably complain about right, it doesn't know about width and height. I guess it's this and this. This dot with things. Right, so that pixels, I guess, needs to be like that. Are we allowed to do that? Can we just say throws there? What if we didn't have that and we don't need that as well? What if we just had public function BDA, and we did something like this, mute this, and it could go pixels equals that, and I guess that means this throws. Does it like that? No, it does not. And we probably need this dot pixels. This dot pixels, but no, it doesn't like that. And yeah, I guess what we could do is just have like a struct pixel data, and it can have data, and it can be that. It's like not kind of what I want, but it means I think it still kind of has the same issue. That we need to like set what it is. Ooh, right. Experimental languages. Right, we can VGA that. That's just an error that I've seen come up a few times that I've just ignored, but while I'm in this area of the code. Right, so it doesn't like that. Can I have just an array of of U8. Is that an option? And then that could be just an array of U8 like that. Does array exist? I think it does. Hopefully. Right, that looks somewhat better, but not quite. No. So if we're going to have that, I might just have a flat array, and we can work out our indexes based on right, so it doesn't know about array. Let's have a look at our runtime built-ins. Built-ins array. Because I thought we had an array. In fact, let's look at vim samples arrays and have a look at that. Maybe we could get grep for big array and look in those files. Yeah, I kind of want to have a array initialized inside of a struct. Like I could have a like dictionary and stuff. Dictionary U8. I'll see if that kind of lets me do it. It's not the type I wanted, but it's the type I've used in previous videos, and yeah, so that kind of works. So what I think I might look at this runtime, and so that was in that was also built-ins dictionary. Yeah, so but a dictionary is just a dictionary. Yeah, so a dictionary can do this. Like we're allowed to do this and it's not throwable. Yeah, so like why can't we do the same with this? Throw. Create empty is what that is, and create empty. That also has like that no throw thing. Could we have a set? Nah. It's just weird that we can't have nice things. And there is also this shorthand, I believe. I don't think we can do it for that part. Right, so I need to think of yeah, right. Yeah, I need to just have a array somehow. I think I just need to do U8 and I'll have that two-dimensional one, but I'll make it a question mark and we can have it none, and this is where we make it So mute row equals this, and it's going to be of type U8. And here we're going to go row X equals and we can probably have it as a byte of like a dot maybe, which it is off, so it will start off, I guess, and we'll go through and overwrite it. And here we probably want to go pixels dot push row. It probably could just be up there as well, but that's all right. And this dot pixels, and we probably need to go this dot pixels equals that, and that should hopefully do it. And we'll throw those here, and then the VGA dot in it will be the one that we do. Right, so it doesn't like something still. Yeah. I don't know how I can do it how it wants me to. So I think we will just have the one array again, and have like a function maybe. To convert a I'll just do it. So it will be this dot with times y plus x, and that can be that, and that would be this dot pixels and just that one index, and then that is doing it, I believe. Like, can you not infer and this dot pixels should be legit? Oh, I don't know. I'm unsure why that is doing that. I guess we could do this, and then this dot pixels equals pixels. Yep, and we could probably do it this way, and then it will not need the exclamation mark there. Yep, cool. So the print we could probably do. Alright, it crashed on the actual day. Cool. You can go away and go away, and so this failed on looking at the index. So if we go build day 10, we don't get much of an output, but we have gone over the top of the end of an array. Right, so I think just put that there, and this we want to be dot push, and like so. No, go away, and do that again. So I was thinking of starting this print one, so we can have basically the same loop. So maybe just paste that there, and here we can, are we like off by 1 or something? We can go print, and we can print the stuff as a C, and it can be just this dot pixels, and it can be this thing here, and then every row we'll just do a print line, and we'll do that, and we'll get rid of that bar, and then that kind of prints it. Oh, it didn't like that. Oh, it just didn't like something that I did. There was a weird error. I forgot what the error was, but yeah, so like while it was compiling it couldn't do that. So something in that output is not good. So what I'll do is maybe just uncomment some stuff, so hopefully they'll print blank line per line. It printed a lot, and I can see that the yeah, it should that would be that, and do that sort of thing. So it should just print only a few lines now, 9 I think it was, 6. So it should only print 6 new lines each time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so this one it still didn't like. And like this formatting is weird because of maybe the commenting. So now it should complain about like missing block and code. Now it's fine with it. Sometimes has told me that, sometimes hasn't. I guess it depends what's a block inside of the compiler. Might not always be intuitive as the programmer. Right, so now it is taking a long time to finish that build stage, and I wonder if no, it was just taking a long time. So yeah, we should also do this and try and print that. Now this one, yeah, so it like just fails real horribly. It doesn't know how to do it. The crash before it crashed. I closed it too quick probably. So maybe let pixel equal this thing, and just print it out like that. Yeah, so it thinks that's a void. Yep, I know what is its issue. We need a bang, because we know it is a value because we were good people and we called init first. So we're making the assumption that we called init first. Cool, so now we've got a blank screen. We've turned the screen on, I guess. So that's kind of cool. Now when we do the CPU tick, we probably want to pass in the VGA as well. And because I made this a class, we can probably just go mute VGA of a VGA type. And this should be good. So now what we need to do is kind of go through and put the pixel based on where the clock is, and it's like it gets it. Yeah, what did I decide? It gets it. Yeah, it gets it before it finishes the cycle. So I guess the clock has gone up. And we want to work out what row it is based on that. Yeah, I kind of want like just a constant for this width and stuff. VGA width, and we will have like x be this dot clock, and we want it to be mod this, and we can let y equal this dot clock divide VGA with something like that, I guess, and see what that does. It doesn't like that because yeah, we don't know what it is. So I'm wondering if we 40 and 6, we'll just have lots of hard-coded things. So yeah, and get it around the right way. 40. Like it's nice having it there, which I guess we could just make it public. So we can have VGA dot width, and just do based on that, and it'll probably say that it's not public. Right, it doesn't like that because one of them is a U size. And clock's always U16, so yeah, I guess we can have our clock as being U size, and alright, I'll just do that, and see what that does. Yeah, and now it's because it's private, so we'll just have it as public. I kind of want it like static and constant, depending on however, that is in jakt. Right, so now we just got our x and y, and I might do VGA x and VGA y, because we also have this this dot x, which we want to see whether our current x, so if VGA x equals this dot x, we kind of want that absolute, which I believe is a helper, so we'll go absolute and then we'll search for absolute to get back to here, and maybe get rid of that. So if the difference between the current x and the current x and our current x, and I think we will probably want to do this as bang I32 just to preempt that nonsense. So if that absolute value is less than or equal to 1, then we want to draw a pixel. So we would want to draw pixel, sure, and we can have x being VGA x and y being VGA y, and we can have our pixel being and we can have a hash, and we should probably make that draw pixel function. So public function draw pixel, and we will have immutable this, and we will have a x of u size and y of u size, and pixel of u8. And what we need to do is basically do this. That equals pixel, and that probably does it. So it doesn't like some stuff. Pardon me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, the pollen is doing me something. I'm aware that I've sneezed a couple of times, but I believe it's just pollen. Like, yeah, yep. Right. So we don't have ABS. I thought we did have ABS. ABS. We do have ABS only for i64s. Where did we use ABS? It was like here. Yeah, I think we did it. We did it as I32 because of this pass up here, and this returns an I32, and I think we just want everything to be I64s, just to be kind of good. Right, and so VGA X can be an I64, I guess. And that should hopefully go. Right, so still some more stuff. Yep, so our part 1, we explicitly said it was I32, but it is actually i64. So that should do that, and potentially this will just work. It's one of those things that I'm hopeful, but yeah, because we get the X there and we draw the pixel if it's the right case, and so what do we print? We print, that was the example, so we've printed this top bit, which is not correct. So those two we know should be right. So I think I need to basically do some debugging. So we'll go print line, and VGA x equals that, and VGA, well, VGA, VGA, that can be just two things, and then we can have x equals that, and we'll pass in VGA x and VGA y and this dot x, and that should get us some output as we kind of go, which will hopefully kind of match along with this sort of thing. We probably also want to do what our clock is. Clock equals that and this dot clock, because we use that as our VGA x and y. It did not like me adding that tiny thing, and that's because we don't want that there, we want that there. And that still didn't like it. I'll just look at this, what is wrong. So it's because we do that, I suppose. Yeah, so that's what we want, and that looks better. It is compiling. Look at it go, doing its compiling things. Compiling. Right, so here we want to look at the example, and so at clock 2, so I think, yeah, and that x and y is not right. So yeah, I think we do kind of want to not do the clock there, I think. It was here originally, so I think I'll just put it back there, and that way we should do, and I'll just do example because I want to do the less maybe to kind of see all the output I want to see. So this command here, and there's like a new line which is a bit weird. Yeah, not sure why there's a new line, but so here we can see whether it turns on or off, and so we can probably go print line on else, and print line off, something like that, and then we can run this again and kind of see what it's looking like, because yeah, we should be wanting to set it at this point, but yeah, it is not what this one. Yeah, so I think we want to like subtract one off our x's. So we really want this, because we're using the clock as like a one base thing. And the x potentially as well. So it didn't. It got the right answer there, I think. So if we do this and scroll down a bit quicker, it should have the same output. So I think that has kind of fixed it. So that kind of means we can get rid of some debugging output and get rid of that. And potentially just run them for both, actually. And so this passes the example, and this looks like some letters. F, P, G, F. Oh gosh, that is like quite hard on the brain. What I'll do is copy that and just go F, P, G. I'll unselect that as well because that was a bit hard to read. P, H, F, G, H. Oh no, I've made a grave error. You can't like click off it. F, P, G, F, F, P, G, P, H, F, G, H, F, P, G, P, H, F, G, H, and if we submit that, that's right. I had a feeling it would be right because it looks like letters, and it would just be uncanny if like the output of a VGA display, and if we do that and do that, it will just be uncanny if the output just happened to resemble some other letters. So that now just passes. Cool, so that is it. I'll just double check I didn't add anything I didn't want. Right, so I did that again. Day 10, part 2. Right, and then back to there and quit. Gosh, what did it change to? Get show. Commits amend. Just part 2, thanks. Yep. And just quit. Right, so that's that, and we can probably see what our tree looks like. Yeah, so we've got that, and gosh, the next one is almost just in an hour, so I'm lucky I got all the way through that. It did take a while, but now we've got this kind of cool computer-like thing, and one cool thing about it is, so if we go to day 10, we can actually kind of like edit this input and like change it somehow. So like say if we delete just a couple of lines and we run it again, the output completely changes because we've kind of shifted where that X variable is, and we could kind of use it to generate our own programs. It could be kind of cool if we, I might not, but it's kind of interesting. But like I could write a generator that like took the letters that you wanted, then wrote the assembly, I guess, of those two instructions, knock and add, to then like make sure that the input is right. I reckon that could be kind of cool. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I don't know. That's just a random thought I had. But what I will do is we will pull, because my README would have changed because I've got a GitHub action, and we will do that chmod of that because I had a kernel panic at the end of last episode, so I had to restart, and one of the issues with restarts is it like changes the file permission on that file for some reason. Not too sure, but so because I did like that git add, yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I've like touched the file somewhere else, and now this has like kind of gone empty, and I think if I just go day 10, it's fine there, but like if I like off by one, off by a few more than one, I think. If I go day 10.jakt, alright, it hasn't done it, but like if I do that, maybe, I mean that surely just does the same thing. I don't know, sometimes it kind of changed that, but that's alright. So that's that. I've pushed it up. So that is day 10. I might do something cool that like can run kind of the code that we want. So we can 10.input to input. So when we run it, we can maybe try and run generate our own input. I noticed that it had that runtime error, which only happens very rarely, and this code doesn't actually exist in the compiler code, which makes me think that the code has overflowed somewhere for some reason when it quits, which I don't know, it's out of my pay grade, I guess. I could probably try and work it out, but it happens so infrequently, like I run it again, doesn't do it. But yeah, that's kind of cool. So I will